This is the midpoint formula up in the right-hand corner. X1 and Y1 is just the first point, and X2, Y2 is just the second point. You can decide which point you actually want to be which. It's going to give us the point that is exactly halfway between them. So I put a graph here because I actually want you to be able to see what this looks like. So I'm going to plot this first point. We have -4, -2. And I'm going to plot the second point, which is 2, 5. And it's going to give us the midpoint of this. So I'm just going to plug this in here. The midpoint, we have to do 0.1 and 0.2. So that makes this x2, y2, and this is x1, y1. And I'm going to write the formula out and then substitute those values in. x1, x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. I just remember add your x's, divide by 2, add your y's, divide by 2. That's how I remember it because you do have to know this for the test. So make sure you have that memorized. So my x1 is -4. Make sure you put it in parentheses. My x2 is 2. My y1 is -2. My y2 is 5. And then we're going to go ahead and simplify this. So -4 plus 2 is -2. And -2 plus 5 is 3. So we can actually simplify one of these further. And that would be the first one. We know that -2 over 2 is just -1. 3/2 is better to just leave it as 3/2. I'm going to go ahead and graph this, and we know 3/2 is like 1.5. So I'm going to go -1, 1.5-ish. And you can see that this distance here is the same. So it's the same there. That is the point that is exactly halfway between those points, and that's what the midpoint formula finds for us. So go ahead and pause the video, try this one on your own. Make sure you're trying it because the best practice in math and the best learning in math happens when you struggle through it. So make sure you're trying it. So go ahead and pause and then press play to come back and do it. Okay, so my midpoint formula means I add my x's, divide by 2, I add my y's, and divide by 2. So I'm going to replace this. I'm going to make this x1, y1, x2, y2. So x1 is 2, x2 is 6, y1 is -3, y2 is 4. Two plus 6 is 8. And then -3 plus 4 is 1. Now we can simplify one of these. We know that 8 divided by 2 is 4, and then we have 1/2. You do not have to graph these, but I do just want to make the point of what this looks like. So if I graph my first point 2, -3, and my second point 6, 4, so that's like my 0.1 and my 0.2. If I graph my midpoint, that's right here, and you can see it's right in the middle of them. It's halfway between the two.